Hello, Nation. I just heard that fat is not bad for you anymore, so I'm digging in.
Stop! CNN just reported fat is bad for you again.
Hello, Nation. I'm Dr. Jeremy Pettis. I'm filling in for Steve Edelman, and I'm here with Adriana, our all-star diabetes educator and dietitian. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So let's jump right in. What's the deal with fat? Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? How much should we be eating or not? I'm just freaked out about this.
That's a good question. So fat isn't bad. Fat's back. Okay. Fat is definitely part of a healthy, balanced diet, but there are different types of fat out there.
Okay. And then, do you want to talk about the different types of fats? Because that's also confusing. You know, there's trans, there's polysaturated.
Definitely.
Like, you know, what's going on?
That's a good question. So things that have saturated fat in them is more what's going to affect our cholesterol levels. So that includes things like high-fat dairy products. It also includes high-fat cheeses, and it includes things like red meat. And also, we also have our tropical oils like coconut and palm oil in that category. And then we have our more heart-healthy fats. That's things that we hear about like avocado and olive.
So is there an oil that you recommend cooking with? I know you got some examples here.
So typically, that's a good question. The American Heart Association recommends using olive oil for cooking. And if you're going to be cooking something at high heat, canola is a better choice.
Okay. So, you know, folks with diabetes, we have so much to worry about. What's our A1C doing? Our blood sugars? How's our salt intake with blood pressure, potassium? When do I need to worry about fat? You know, do you talk about fat with all of your patients, or is it only a subset?
So that kind of depends. So I typically look at a patient's labs. If your cholesterol is elevated, maybe your HDL is low and your LDL is really high, that's when I would really sit down and look at where you're getting your fat in your diet. Are they coming more from the saturated group or more from the unsaturated group?
So maybe you can help me. You know, my LDL is not exactly where I want it to be, but I don't really want to start taking a statin yet. You know, they're great meds, but how can I get my cholesterol down with my diet?
So you can try and look at, one good thing would be kind of to see what oil you're using at home.
Okay.
So you'd want to use more of an unsaturated fat. So like we talked about doing like the olive.
Okay.
You also want to see what kind of meat you're consuming. Are you having red meat often? Do you do a lot of chicken like with the skin? So things like chicken breast, well, skinless chicken is going to be a better choice. Something like a lean turkey, even a leaner pork loin is going to be a better choice than a red meat or fish.
Okay. So less red meat.
Yes, and it kind of depends. If I'm eating red meat every day, I'm not going to go from every day to not eating it at all, right? I might say if I'm having it 5 days a week, I might cut back to 3, and that's still much better than having it 5.
Okay. And what about cheese? I love cheese and dairy and all that.
Yeah, so that's a really
pizza?
good question.
Can I make pizza?
You can make pizza.
Okay.
So there are different types of fat in different types of cheeses. And the whole thing with dairy has actually become a little bit controversial as well. But a lot of the cheeses can be found now in a 2% version, like Swiss and pepper jack are now available in 2%. But you can definitely make pizza. You know, if you use the mozzarella cheese, if you were trying to watch your cholesterol, you could use like a turkey pepperoni and load it up with some veggies, and that would be a great pizza.
So can I eat low fat but still have food that tastes good?
Of course. So there's different types of fat. So you'd want to do more of the heart-healthy fats, like the nuts and like we mentioned, the avocado and the olives. Those are more beneficial for your labs.
I just need you to come over for like a weekend, make all my meals, and just like, you know, figure it out for me. So I think I found something that's a real breakthrough.
Let me see.
I've been eating these nonstop. They're low-fat chocolate bars. You know, because I'm really worried about my fat content. So I've been eating like 20 to 30 of these a day.
Okay.
So I'm good, right?
So that's a really good question. A lot of people will think, oh, well, it's low fat, so it's a great choice for me. But remember, when you're replacing the fat, typically you're adding in more sugar. And these are just sugar. Okay. So this is not going to help keep you full very long. Remember, fat is important for our body and helps keep us full longer.
It's tough.
It is tough. It's hard to keep it all together.
So I guess after all this, you know, these crazes, low fat, high fat, whatever, we just have to eat a balanced diet, eat healthy, whatever that is, and do our best.
Right. That's the goal, the balanced eating.
Yeah. And we didn't even talk about the fat's effects on blood sugars, which is a whole nother bag of worms. But
that's a whole separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess, Nation, keep doing your best. Keep fighting the good fat. Eat some fat, but not too much. Eat the right kinds of fat. And if you eat less fat, don't overdo it on these big hunk chocolate bars like I have. And that's probably why my blood sugar is 300. I couldn't really figure it out. But thanks for being here. And any closing comments to our viewers out there?
I would say that it's important if you're trying to reduce your fat intake to just be realistic with your goals and look at what you're doing currently, and like I mentioned, kind of see where you could cut back.
Well, I think,
like we talked about with the red meat.
I think I'm just going to start popping my Lipitor and eat my ice cream.
There you go. That's always, I guess, a solution as well.
All right. So long, nation.